Hey folks, welcome back. Well, October has come to an end, and you know what that means. It's now illegal to be scared. I don't know about you guys, but I can't go back to jail. So let's talk about the least scary topic I could possibly think of. Dolphins. Sega, one of the biggest names in the video game industry, known for several long-running franchises like Alex Kidd, Golden Axe, Bayonetta, Altered Beast, Yakuza, and of course, Sonic the Hedgehog. We all know this. Sega hit its peak in the 90s when the Genesis was a genuine competition for the Super Nintendo. It seems kind of stupid now, but back then people chose sides, man. You were either a Sega kid or a Nintendo kid. Now, when I was a kid, if you owned a Sega Genesis and or a Super Nintendo, it was probably either a hand-me-down or purchased second-hand. And back then, it wasn't difficult at all to find reasonably priced Super Nintendo or Genesis, I guess. As a result, if you had one of these consoles, there was usually a bunch of games that you probably had. Like if you had a Super Nintendo, you probably had Super Mario World, Mario All-Stars, Link to the Past, Mario Paint, Super Metroid, Mortal Kombat 2, maybe some licensed games. It seems crazy to say now, but these games really weren't that difficult to get your hands on back then. They weren't that old, and there wasn't as much of a culture of collecting as there is now. This also very much rang true for Sega. If you had a Genesis, you almost definitely had Sonic 2, Golden Axe, Kid Chameleon, Shinobi, Streets of Rage, probably some NHL game, and for some reason the Power Rangers game. I don't know why everyone had this. But among the list of games that seemingly came for free with every Sega Genesis you could get at Value Village was Ecco the Dolphin. It's a game about a dolphin, you know. Ecco the Dolphin is one of the definitive Sega Genesis games. Even now, I bet if you bought a Genesis with a bunch of games, you would almost definitely get a copy of the Dolphin game with it. I had it as a kid, and I played it occasionally, but I could never really figure out what I was supposed to do. So, get out your list of dolphin facts, because it's about time that we take a look at Ecco the Dolphin. Ecco the Dolphin is a video game about a dolphin named Ecco. How much time do I have left to kill? It was developed by Novotrade International, a Hungarian development studio, but it was largely spearheaded by one dude, Ed Annunziata. It was published by Sega for the Genesis and was actually really successful. It spawned a few sequels and became one of the highest-selling Sega Genesis games of all time. It's just weird to me because it feels like such a one-off, whatever, forgettable Genesis game. I don't think I've ever met anyone who feels anything toward it other than, yep, that's Ecco the Dolphin. There were 2 sequels on the Genesis and a game on the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast game was pretty much critically acclaimed, and it's considered one of the best games of 2000 by IGN. Am I insane? Have I just been completely off the mark about Ecco the Dolphin all these years? Is this a fucking masterpiece? What is happening? We start up with a cutscene, and there's our hero. Or maybe that's him. Or them. Or those two, I don't know. Dolphins all look the same. Look at this title screen, man. I love JPEGs. The game begins and you're swimming around with all your dolphin homies. Really brilliant character design. I love how Ecco looks exactly the same as every other dolphin. Although he allegedly has stars on his head, but you can't see them. Anyway, one of your pals says, "How high in the sky can you fly?" So of course we can't look like a bitch in front of our friends. Let's get some fucking air. Unfortunately, once you manage to pull off the sickest possible jump, some sort of evil force vortex sucks all your friends away. I like this, it's a simple motivation. Your nameless dolphin buddies are gone, gotta go save them. The controls are simple. You can accelerate with C, which will just make Ecco swim faster. B makes you do this little dash move, which you can use to attack enemies and destroy certain objects. And A lets you use your sonar echolocation ability. This lets you communicate with NPCs, and if you hold it down, the sonar will bounce off a wall back at you and show you a little mini-map. Also, just a little preemptive warning. Never do this in an area where you've just killed an enemy, because they will respawn on top of you right when you leave the map screen. And that's all there is to it, really. It's a very simple game. You got a health meter, which you can replenish by dashing into little schools of fish swimming around, and you also have an air meter, which you constantly have to keep an eye on and refill by jumping in the air whenever you get a chance. And if you jump and press B while still in the air, Ecco will do a little somersault, which I think is entirely just for fun, but it's a cute little detail. You know, people are always going on about how intelligent dolphins are. Oh, they're one of the smartest animals in the world. Well, if they're so smart, then why didn't they evolve to live on land? Why would you want to be a mammal that lives underwater? Anyway, here we are in the first level having some good old dolphin fun when you come across this crystal that's blocking the exit. If you try to swim past it, it knocks you out of the way, and you can't bonk into it either, so I guess we'll try echolocation. Search for the key glyph. The what now? Obviously, when I first saw that, I had no idea what the fuck it meant. What you're supposed to do is go back into the little labyrinth part of the stage and swim around until you find this alcove with another crystal. There's also a friendly killer whale here who tells you to find the big blue, who I'm assuming is a blue whale. That would make sense. Anyway, what you're supposed to do to get past the crystal is to go over to this crystal here and bonk into it, after which it will send a little sonar wave toward Ecco. You can then go back to the other crystal and use your echolocation to knock it out of the way. We're only on the first level, and I have so many problems. First of all, look at this. Does this register as a key glyph to you? No, it's a fucking crystal. Neither key nor glyph could be registered by a rational human being to be relating to this. Perhaps you could have called it like a sea crystal, or a chaos emerald or something. Something that registers as gemstone. And on top of that, if you have to call it a key glyph, to be fair, that does sound pretty cool. Why not have the crystal block in the way say, find another key glyph, or I am a key glyph, find my twin to pass, or something. It's like you're deliberately trying to be cryptic for the sake of being cryptic. Also, why is this NPC here right next to the crystal if he doesn't tell you what you're supposed to do? All he does is exposition. Every other time you find an orca, they give you little hints and stuff. So why not just add a little extra dialogue screen saying, like, dash into this key glyph to continue on your quest? Would that have been so hard? Anyway, the next several levels are exactly the same. You have to swim around a labyrinth looking for crystals to bonk so that you can echolocate other crystals away. In the third level, there are these fucking currents, so you can't just go down. You gotta get something to block the current. And you know, in retrospect, this is kind of obvious. There's a boulder here, you push it in front of you, bada bing. But why did you insist on making the rock the same color? Would it have been so hard to just make it stick out? That's a pretty common problem in this game. A lot of things tend to blend into the background. Like for a game that takes place in the ocean, one of the most naturally, vibrantly colorful places on Earth, it's certainly hesitant to step outside blue jellyfish on blue background. Maybe it's down to palette limitations of the Sega Genesis, but I don't know about that. Sonic the Hedgehog came out a year earlier, and look at all these colors, man. This is one of the levels where you start out and a dolphin NPC asks you to venture down into the reefs to save his friends, 3 of which are hidden in the level. Strangely though, you don't actually have to save the other dolphins to complete the level, you can just keep going. The funny thing is, too, I actually wanted to save the other dolphins, but I accidentally finished the level because it just ends in this little corridor that doesn't look out of place, and Ecco just zooms away like, good luck guys, I know you can't breathe underwater, but I hope someone gives you a hand. Or should I say, gives you a fin. Is that what you wanted to hear? Are you happy now? Anyway, after a while you get to this open ocean stage where it's just a seemingly never-ending stretch of ocean filled to the goddamn brim with sharks. And they just chase you down like you just pulled out a lighter during the intermission of a Mac DeMarco concert. This is probably as good a time as any to point out that this game is agonizingly frustrating, and it's entirely down to shitty controls and level design. For one thing, controlling Ecco is such a nightmare. The way that he's shaped makes it difficult to be able to situate and position him correctly. The majority of the game is spent having to navigate these tight, narrow passageways, some of which have currents that push you in one direction, all while avoiding enemies that home in on you. Not to mention the fact that you're constantly having to keep track of your air, so you want to go fast, but you also have to be careful. You know the minigame from Mario Party where you and another person have to navigate a battery on a stretcher through a bunch of corners and narrow hallways? That's not a far stretch from what it's like to control Ecco the stupid-ass dolphin. Like, sometimes you gotta squeeze through a tiny opening between a bunch of spikes in the ceiling, and it's just so fucking hard to situate Ecco so that he just stupid. Plus, the game is so hesitant to let you go fast. You're constantly bonking into walls and stuff. I don't understand why you would make a game starring such a fast, aerodynamic animal and then make me meticulously navigate through narrow hallways or push rocks in front of me. Or push shells off of ledges so that they break a rock, since, yeah, duh, what, you've never heard of a rock-breaking seashell before? What are you, a land mammal or something? Another huge issue is the enemies. They're brutal. Like, you know how in every single video game ever made, especially back then, when you get hit by something, you get like 2 or 3 seconds of invulnerability. usually indicated by the character flashing. Ecco the Dolphin ain't work like that. When you take damage, you are immediately vulnerable again. Because of this, whenever you get hit by something, your health bar depletes faster than the fucking human brain is even capable of responding. One really annoying thing is these stupid pointy shell things that you have to break through by dashing into them. But they still hurt you, so if you have a wall of them situated like this, diagonally, you're gonna lose a bunch of health, especially since Ecco is so hard to turn around quickly. And look, this would be bad in pretty much any game, but the worst thing about Ecco the Dolphin is that the enemies pursue you relentlessly. Maybe if the enemies just all bobbed up and down like the jellyfish or moved back and forth, it wouldn't be such a huge issue. But in this game, you got pufferfish, crabs, sharks, etc. that just chase you down and exist in your space until your health bar goes from full to empty in the span of seconds. Like, get away from you, stupid spider crab. And the best part is, Ecco still flickers when he takes damage. Like, what's the point? Okay, sorry you guys had to see that. We're gonna take it back. Take a few deep breaths. Anyway, eventually you finally reach a segment of levels that look different. That being ice levels that are, you guessed it, infuriating. For some reason this game really likes starting you directly in the line of fire. Like this level where you spawn absolutely surrounded by tiger sharks. Or this level where you're immediately attacked by one of these spider crab things. Eventually you run into this DNA spiral who's actually a friend. He tells you that you have to travel to the lost city of Atlantis to use a time machine to go back 55 million years. Only then can he give you the power to save your pod. Okay, Ecco the Dolphin. Go to Atlantis and use an ancient time machine. That's pretty dope. You win that, fair enough. You win this round. The next several levels take place in the Marble Zone from Sonic the Hedgehog. There's not much to say that I haven't already said about the other levels. You're just pushing around blocks, fighting currents, bonking crystals so that you can sonar other crystals. Eventually, Ecco uses his sonar to activate the time machine and is sent back to prehistoric time. After defeating another DNA spiral guy, the evil one, I guess, you go back to the future where the good DNA spiral man tells you to use the time machine to go back in time just before your homies got sucked into the vortex. You do another sick jump and you get transported to the final area. It was aliens all along. Man, it's always aliens. These levels are agonizing, but in new ways this time. There are only 2 levels on the alien spaceship or whatever, and they're both auto-scroll levels. Yes! Underwater auto-scroll! Thankfully, you don't need to worry about air. I guess Ecco is able to move around because he's in zero gravity, but there's still oxygen because he's in a space station. This section is really out of left field and actually pretty scary. I mean, not if you're a big, strong man like me. But I mean, look at that H.R. Giger looking motherfucker, man. That would have knocked my socks off as a kid. Anyway, eventually you fight the final boss, the Vortex Queen. And she... who looks like this. I don't know who this game's target audience was meant to be. It seems kind of strange to go from Freddy Fish to Dead Space, but what do I know? I can't make video games. This last boss fight is, you guessed it, really fucking frustrating. You fight her in like a void, and every single thing that does damage to you is the darkest possible green that the Sega Genesis is capable of, so you can't see the shit barreling toward you. And once you die, you go back to the beginning of the auto-scroll levels. Yes! But once you've managed to squeeze out a victory, you and your homies swim back to Earth to live out a life of doing dolphin stuff. And all is well. Overall, I fucking hate this game. And it's too bad because under all the bullshit, there's a decent game here. Swimming around as Ecco and jumping out of the water is fun. The echolocation thing to pull up the minimap is a good idea. And the music, although I found it kind of dull at the beginning, is actually really good. And look, making a game that takes place entirely underwater is a bold undertaking. I mean, it's pretty much unanimously agreed among people who play video games that water levels are about as much fun as having every hair on your body plucked one at a time. But this is not the right way to do it. Trying to play Ecco the Dolphin is a seemingly endless gauntlet of frustrating controls, big confusing levels where you have no idea where the hell you're supposed to go, sudden unfair difficulty spikes with enemies that take your entire health bar away before you even know what happened, and obstacles that look like they're part of the background. I don't know if I have ever played a game that seems like it's actively trying to handicap you to such an extent. And you know what? Being underwater isn't an excuse. Legendary Starfy for the Nintendo DS takes place entirely underwater, and that game fucking rules. So there you have it, folks. This dolphin game blows! You get it? Because the dolphins, they have... they